Few things are as powerful as love.
I'm James Preece, and I'm an international dating and relationships coach. I've been helping singles find love for over 15 years, have written best-selling books, and worked with many dating companies all over the world. My Love Machine podcast is all about finding love, loving yourself, loving life, and finding new ways to help you live your life with more happiness, passion, and success. I answer your questions, interview inspiring experts, and bring you lots of fun new ideas to finally bring you the love you deserve into your life. Well, hello there, and welcome back to the very latest episode of the Love Machine podcast. Now, with me today is the fantastic Joan Nwoso. She is a coach who coaches singles to successfully get back into the dating scene after divorce. Now, Joan is no stranger when it comes to navigating love's turbulent waters later in life. With over 5 years of experience as a coach, she has helped countless successful women over the age of 40 navigate the world of dating after divorce. And she specializes in decoding men and empowering women to attract, keep, and marry their soulmate. Joan identified unique challenges and developed targeted strategies to help herself and others find love again. And part of this means that she has compiled her hard-won wisdom with the ebook, Second Chances at Love, a 5-step blueprint to mastering dating in your 40s after divorce. It provides the comprehensive guidance, practical tools, and relatable narratives to inspire hope and confidently step forward into new romantic possibilities. Today, Joan will share insights from her book, including mindset shifts, common pitfalls to avoid, and key skills to master and attract the nurturing, wonderful relationship that you truly deserve. So whether you're divorced for decades or fresh from separation, it's never too late to write an exciting new chapter when it comes to love. Joan, how are you doing?
I'm great, James. A pleasure to be here.
I'm really pleased to have you. You've written this fantastic ebook, and we discussed it briefly in our initial call. And I want you to share all about what you do, all about your ebook with our listeners today. So first things first, can you explain to everyone a bit more about what you do and how you got into that, please?
Yeah, thanks, James. So I'm a dating and relationship coach, really focusing on women. Not that I don't speak to men too, but my primary focus is women because I'm a woman. Women who have been through a divorce and are in their 40s and are now ready to step back into the dating scene. But the reality is, like, I'm 44 and I know that dating in my 20s is completely different from dating today. So the landscape has completely changed. And a lot of women who maybe were married for a long time are confused because it's a bit of a shit show out there right now, and they don't have the skills, they don't have the right mindset to be able to navigate this new terrain and really find their second chance at love. I'm a stern believer in everyone deserves a second chance, and it's possible to find another true love. Well, maybe your first one wasn't even true love, but another opportunity for you to find love and really have a beautiful, nurturing, fulfilling relationship later in life.
Wonderful. It's such an important topic. I coach many people in the same situation myself, but the difference is you've been through this yourself, haven't you? You were divorced at some point, you were telling me, and so you've lived through this.
I have. So I got married. I don't want to say out of pressure, but it was pressure that I was putting on myself as well, because where I come from, I'm originally from Nigeria, there's this stigma around being single in your 30s. And so the pressure was on. Like, I never struggled to find dates. I was always in relationships from the age of 12. Don't tell my mom. But I was always successful in relationships, in finding a relationship. But when it came to marriage, I struggled. And so in my 30s, I was in a hurry. I was like, I need to get married now. I need to settle down. It doesn't matter. And then, of course, there were people saying to me, it doesn't matter who you marry. All men are the same. Just be married. It doesn't matter. And that's what I did. So I got into a marriage, not knowing anything about compatibility or who I was or what a marriage should look like or how I was meant to show. I knew absolutely nothing. All I wanted was to wear a white dress and have a ring on my finger and to change my last name. And that's what I did. So I was married for only 2.5 years. And it wasn't an easy decision to make to walk out of that marriage. But I had to be honest with myself that things were just not working. Like this fairy tale about happily ever after, I wasn't even happy at all. Forget ever after. And so I decided to leave my marriage, with all the shaming and all the, "Oh, how could you?" People made me feel guilty. I was ashamed of myself. I was miserable. But like with most people, when you get out of a marriage, because you're in a hurry to prove that it wasn't your fault, you quickly try to get into another relationship. Like, I'm awesome. Like, I'm great. I got this. I can do this. I'm an amazing person. Why can't people see that? And then it was relationship after relationship, each one being worse than the previous one. And finally, I had to stop and really try to figure this out. And so I went through a lot of training, a lot of coaching, a lot of self-discovery, on learning to really discover who I am. And that's a really critical thing that I coach women on, to really discover who you are. It's not about just jumping into a relationship or just trying to wear that wedding dress, but who are you? What do you want? What is your vision of love, of a long-term marriage or long-term relationship? What does that look like? What are your values? I didn't know any of those things when I got married the first time around. So armed with all of this, I was able to attract and find my own second chance love. And now I want to help people achieve the same, because it is possible. But if you're still where you were when maybe you got married the first time, then you're probably going to keep attracting the same kind of people.
That is such a common problem, isn't it? People do that.
It is.
They think what they had before. They see it with rose-tinted glasses sometimes, and they move forwards and they're looking for someone exactly the same. But of course, it didn't work out the first time round. So how do you start again? What are you mentioned about working on yourself and knowing what you want. And I agree with that. I teach people the same thing. But where do you start? Maybe you're still hurt. Maybe you're still grieving a little bit, the relationship. So how long does it take to start to look again, would you say? And then what steps can you take to sort of move forward?
Yeah, that's a great question, James. And I don't think there's a particular time frame. I think you would know, if you're really honest with yourself, whether you've healed or not, because healing is so key. And part of that healing is you forgiving yourself and forgiving the other person as well, because it's so easy. It's easier to play victim. Oh, he was a bad person, or she was a bad person. It's her fault. She wasn't this, she wasn't that. But what about you? Right? None of us are easy to get along with. Let's just be honest here. So it's about going through that healing journey to really figure out what happened in that relationship. What were some of the traumas that maybe you brought into that relationship that you're still carrying on? We all have childhood trauma, so go deal with that, right? Get to a point where you're okay with being by yourself. You're okay with who you are. You know what you want. You're not angry or hurt about your past relationship. It doesn't mean that there weren't lessons to be learned. Yeah, you take those lessons, but you're not stuck there. Every conversation is not about, oh, do you know what's happening with my ex? Is such a this. I saw him on Facebook. Ugh, what a loser. If you're still there, then maybe you haven't really healed. If you're still looking back and constantly trying to play victim, then maybe you haven't healed. So going through this healing journey is so key. Really checking, what are my belief systems around relationships and marriage? What are all these unrealistic expectations that I have? What is wrong with me as well? You know, why should somebody want to put up with me? And what are some of the things that I can change about myself to make sure that I'm that ideal person for someone else too, and not just expecting somebody to come and make my life so wonderful, if only. So healing is so key. And I don't think there's a timeline, but I don't think it happens in a day. Like some people say, oh, we broke up, by tomorrow, I'm good, I'm ready. Yeah, who's next? No, you haven't really taken time to heal. So just take as much time as it needs. Sometimes you might think you've healed, you rush into another relationship, and then you fall flat on your face, and maybe go back again and continue the healing. I think healing takes a pretty long time, but it's something that you have to embark on if you really want to move forward.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It can take a little while, depending how long you were together and what happened. The word that I hear all the time is everyone wants to get closure. They want to work out why things went wrong and what happened. And it's not something everyone really gets, is it? It's a bit of a myth, this magical closure thing. Some people get it. It's very, very obvious what happened. But for most people, I think the answer is forgiveness, like you said. Let it go regardless. Even if you're still angry and bitter, someone maybe hurt you or cheated on you, disrespected you, whatever it might be, forgive them. But what are your thoughts on this magical closure thing?
Yeah, I think this idea that you need closure is from an ego point of view. It's to exonerate you of every wrong and, again, stay in that victim mindset and point fingers. Oh, I knew I wasn't the problem. Well, because people who come with, I want to have closure, they have a defense argument based on whatever the person is going to say, right? So if a person says, oh, I didn't feel like you loved me, but I loved you. Didn't I show you this? Didn't I do this for you? Didn't I? Da, 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 da. and then you're still not getting the closure that you want. So for me, I think just go within yourself and go heal on your own, regardless of whether the person apologizes or doesn't apologize or takes responsibility or not. It's up to you to take responsibility for your own role in that relationship and how things did not end. Tell yourself any story you want to tell. Just get over it and move on. Learn whatever lessons you need to learn. Take responsibility. That's something that's very, very key. Own up to your own side, the part that you played in this relationship ending, and just move on. Forgive yourself and forgive the person, and just choose love over fear or ego or whatever else is holding you back.
Completely. I think you've got a new adventure ahead of you. You need to embrace that. And you can't do that if you're still holding on to negativity from the past.
No.
And something I think even with closure, if you get some form of closure, it might not be true. Whatever that person tells you is their version of it. So it's not always going to be true. So don't worry about that. Closure is irrelevant most of the time. If someone apologizes, wonderful. Does that really help you move on? Not really. But so let it go. Let the past go. The past has happened. The future hasn't happened yet. You're going through this day one day at a time. So embrace that as you go forwards. Now,
Absolutely.
There are so many people out there, women and men, who are going through maybe a rebirth. They're starting again to go and look for love in new places and with new opportunities. What are the biggest challenges that you see, particularly for women when they're starting again?
Unrealistic expectations. So I work with women, especially women who are successful in the corporate world, right? So you've risen in ranks in your career, your chosen field, you're successful. Maybe you already bought your own home, you drive a nice car, you're very independent, you're solely, fully in your masculine energy, and then you're desiring a masculine partner. Well, it doesn't mean it can't work, but it doesn't really just work. If you show up the same way you've always showed up in other areas of your life where things are thriving, and you bring that to a relationship, it typically doesn't work. So that's usually the major challenge that I see with the women I work with who are successful women, because they show up with, I'm intelligent, I'm beautiful, I'm successful. That's all that matters. And the man is there saying, no, I want someone who gives me peace, someone who's more feminine, who's nurturing, and you're like, no, but I bring this to the table. I bring this dollar figure to the table. I bring all of this. So this unrealistic expectation about, because I'm successful, I'm beautiful, that's all I bring to the table. That's not necessarily true. And it's not necessarily going to give you the results that you want. So I think the first thing that women struggle with is this unrealistic expectation about what they want in a relationship or in a partner. They don't even truly know what they want. It's always about what I don't want, right? Yeah. I don't want a man who says I don't want a man. I don't. Okay, so but what do you want? Oh, I don't know. I just want a great man, tall, that can handsome. But that's nothing. What are your values? Right? Most people don't even sit down to think about what their values are and really see that, okay, this is what is truly important to me. Not just, oh, he makes 7 figures, or he's 6 foot tall, or he's this or he's that. There's more to what sustains a healthy, long-term committed relationship than just this superficial things that women think that they want. So that's the biggest challenge. This unrealistic expectation, not knowing what it is that you want, not knowing what your values are, not knowing what your vision of what a loving relationship looks like. And you're just banking on, I'm a good woman, like I'm good looking. That's good enough. It's not.
I see that all the time myself. And that's why I always work on those things with clients when I'm starting to work with them on the longer term. There's such important things to work out your own value, what you have to offer, what you're looking for, setting those goals. And I'm sure as a coach, you do the same thing. It's an important part of the foundation of what's happening. I see a big problem that women are quite cynical when it comes to dating again. Maybe they've been hurt, or they go online and meet some complete weirdos and they get put off by dating. So what mindset shifts do you help people with when it comes to being more positive about dating? And I say mindset shifts. It's a bit of a tongue twister. I did struggle with that in introduction, but people won't know that because I edited it out. But I've said it again, mindset shifts. There you go. I'll let you carry on. Sorry.
Okay, so I think that the biggest mindset shift is this idea of scarcity.
Yeah.
Right. If you go into the dating scene thinking, oh, there are no men, all men are scum, the good men are taken, well, that's what you're going to get. So you keep attracting people who are emotionally unavailable, or who are just looking for a casual fling, or can't give you the things that you truly want. So the first mindset is really to believe that there's no scarcity. There's an abundance of whatever it is that you want, and that you are worthy of receiving that. You can have that. You deserve to have that. And yes, they're available, right? So that's the first mindset shift. What
You can't say either.
right, mindset shift. Yeah.
Say it 3 times.
Mindset shift, mindset shift, mindset shift.
Oh, well done. Well done.
Right. So really, really believing that you're worthy and there is an abundant flow of available high value men out there ready to commit and give you the things that you want. Right. So for me, those are the first few mindset shifts. And then there's just other things that are more practical in terms of how do you show up. Right. And I'll give you this analogy. Like someone was saying to me, she was talking about her dating life and how one date and the guy will ghost and all of that. So I was trying to figure out what exactly could be going wrong in all these dates. I knew that she was very masculine energy. And I said to her, okay, mate, what did you wear? And she said, well, I was coming from work, so I had a black suit on and I was looking very formal, very corporate. And I was like, oh, okay, that could be a bit of a problem. And she's like, why? But that's who I am. That's my style. And I think that's where a lot of women get it wrong, thinking that I can just show up in a certain way and he should accept me for who I am. Unfortunately, men are more visual than women, right? And the way you show up on a date, from the moment you walk into that restaurant or coffee shop or whatever, wherever you're meeting, the man, that first moment, that first time he looks at you makes a world of difference. So I said to her, how about you try wearing something a bit more feminine, a bit more softer colors? Like just try that and see. But no, but why should I? I'm like, no, but if you went for a job interview, would you show up in your sleepwear, for instance? Would you just show up in some casual joggers, a sweatshirt? She was like, no, I said it's exactly the same thing, right? It doesn't mean that you're not being authentic, but you're showing up as your best self. You're showing up as what the person wants to see, what can help this journey be easier so that they can get to knowing you. Women, we always want people, why can't they just love me for me? Yeah, that comes later. He has to love what he sees first. So how you show up physically is just as important as how you show up internally. What is the physical is what would make him want to see you more, right? And then what's inside will make him decide if he wants to have a long-term relationship with you. So I think that's the second mind shift, that how you show up should not be, oh, this is who I am, this is me, love me or leave me, who's going to love me is going to stay, all those things that we like to tell ourselves, okay? And rather, how do I need to show up so that I can attract and present myself in the best way that I can attract or get to know more about this man, and he will be more interested in who I am.
Yeah.
This is just a few, there's loads.
There are loads, but I agree completely. And women will sometimes argue against that if I were to give them that advice. They would say, well, why should I change? Why should I dumb myself down and be something that I'm not to attract a man? Yet they will go to a job interview and they will be all smart and put the corporate suit on to do that, to give the impression that they're business-like and so forth. They wouldn't normally wear that in their normal life. All you're doing is, you rightly said, you're getting them initially interested, and then they will find out more about you. And then they can open up and see the real version of you. Because we're not one thing. We are a combination of different layers, a business layer, a social layer, a relationship layer, the layers that we are, the layers that are happy, the layers that are sad. And they come together. So absolutely agree with you. So that's the advice I give them as well. And I love your own colours that you wear. Those that can't, no one can see you at the moment, because we could do this again one day on video. But at the moment, lovely pink glasses, pink top, pink cushions behind you, pink hearts, pink candles. I'm not sure what that is in the background. Is that a chocolate bar on the picture? Is it books? I'm not really sure. Wonderful things in the background. Even your microphone is sort of purpley pink. But it looks really good. It captures your personality, and it's wonderful. Mine is all very dark and blues and blacks. But if I go out, I've got a pink polo shirt. Things like that. I've got one. I've got a yellow polo shirt. Things like when I have to. But normally, I am coaching from here, and it's very cold here at the moment.
It's cold here in Toronto too.
It's cold everywhere, isn't it? It's cold. But okay, so someone is starting again. They're looking to start dating. Where do you think are the best places for women to start meeting men?
For me, hands down, online dating. Yeah. And I know, like a lot of women I speak to, like, oh my God, I hate it. It's such a shit show. There's too many losers on there. Yes, I agree. There are people who are not honest about their intentions on there. There are people in different stages of life, different lower end, middle class, everyone's there, right? So rather than focusing on, oh, there are only losers there, how about you coming with the mindset that this is an online dating platform. If there are great men there, I'm going to find them. I'm going to be able to attract them. I'm going to show up as the best version that I can show up to be able to attract these men, right? Trying to go out on dates look, it's cold in Canada. Trying to go to the bars or to the restaurants and hoping that someone will talk to you. Like, everyone's on their phone, they're busy. No one's looking up. No one's trying to make eye contact. And even if someone made eye contact with you, you're like, what are you looking at? Right? The world has changed. The world has changed. I find it creepy if someone walked up to me and said, oh, hi, I was just walking by and I saw you and I thought you're just like, creep. That's the world that we live in. So as much as, yes, there's a lot of bad stories about being online dating. We have stories like the Tinder swindler and stuff like that. But there are a lot of great I met my man on Tinder and Bumble. We actually matched on both platforms. But there are lots of high value, high quality men there. And you can meet people from all over the world, right? There's just thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions of people online, right? So rather than just say, no, I don't like the whole online date. It's not for me. I'm too old for that. No. There's over 37% of people over 40 on the apps.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to meet, to keep your options very open. It's like the ocean. Now, rather than just going out and hoping that one person is going to hit on you, now you have thousands and thousands and millions of people that you could match with. And you also have the opportunity to kind of read up a little bit about them. Don't just swipe right randomly. I know people are just like, oh, don't do that. Right? Go in, read their profiles, see how you feel, what kind of energies you're getting from them, and then swipe. And if you're a match, also know how to have conversations, right? Because a lot of people have been out of the dating game for so long, they don't know how to have conversations. So make sure you're asking the right questions. Make sure you're trying to get face-to-face meeting as soon as possible. And then you just take it up from there. There are many people online who just want to be pen pals. They just want to chat and text forever. They have zero chances of meeting up in person. So having the skills, and that's one of the things I really coach my clients on, having the skills to be able to filter, first of all, how to create your own profile so that it's not this, attracting the wrong kind of people. Let's just leave it at that. And then also being able to filter and how to move from online to offline pretty quickly, right? And then decide if this is something that you want to move forward with or not. It doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities to meet people offline. It's just slimmer, right? It's just a slimmer chance. There's just so many people out there on their phones. People are not really going out as they used to. People are not really socializing now. When people go out, they go out with friends. It's really difficult for someone to come and talk to a woman who's out there with 6 friends. Like,
yeah. Difficult.
So online for me is still the number one way to date today. When I was younger, yes, you had people introducing you to their friend. Now nobody's introducing anybody to anybody, right? No. So online is where it's happening. So if you're not online, I really want to recommend that you go online and don't start thinking about paying for the premium services. No, even with just the free services, you can meet a lot of amazing partners there.
You can. I think women have it easier because women get longer searches. They do, because the weird thing is there's so many more men online than there are women. Anyway,
that is true.
Yeah, there's at least 2/3 the amount of men to women. So women have the opportunity, but of course they get overwhelmed with the wrong sort of person because men are pretty clueless about what to do in their profile, how to have good pictures. Women can do this better. And I think if you're newly single and you're newly divorced and you want to do this, absolutely apps are the best place to start interacting, testing your skills out, getting back into confidence, learning and conversation and going out there, just meeting some people for the first time. Don't be too picky initially. All you're doing is seeing what's out there and going out on a few test dates, just as a bit of practice. That way you're going to build your confidence up. When you do meet someone you like, you're ready for them. If your first date, the first person, someone you're really in love with before you've even met them, then it could go very, very wrong. But I think people are pretty clueless about online dating and men can scare women off. So my advice on that, don't do it alone. Get a friend to help you, or maybe get a coach like us to give you a helping hand to help you right from the start. Because if you don't build your profile up in the right way, then it all works against you and the algorithms will hate you. So do things like that. It's true, unfortunately. And it's weird thing is, in terms of online dating, there's quite a few sites, particularly over here in the UK, and they've changed them now. I'm not going to name. I won't name them. Do what I want. Are you ready for my podcast? There's Match.com. You know Match.com. You have that in Toronto, don't you? Right. So well known. The way it works for you is different to us. But it used to be you can go on there and you can search on there. Unlike the dating apps, you can actually do a physical search. Who's in your area? See all the pictures at once and go through them all. They've changed it. It turns out a month ago. So there's no search feature, and it's turned it into pretty much Tinder. But Match does own Tinder, so it's not too surprising. But what is the point of that? It just becomes any old site. I used to like it, and I don't like it now. But do you know what? If you're new to dating, give it an absolute go. Go on there. It's the first starting point to get the most amount of opportunities. Everyone's on these apps. And what are your thoughts on using multiple apps? Because some of my clients like to go on 6 at a time. What are your thoughts?
So 6, that's a lot. I would say maybe start with 2, right? Because it could become overwhelming and addictive, right? So I suffered this when I first started. So imagine you've just come out of a marriage or just a bad relationship, and now you're in that phase where you're like, I need to prove to myself that I'm fantastic, so I need to find a new person, right? And then you get on the apps. So I tell you, plenty of fish. Whew. I woke up the next day and I had 300 messages. And I'm like, where do I even start? Like 300. Right. So it became very overwhelming. It became very addictive because you're getting all these messages constantly. So you're there constantly checking your phone and checking in, messaging and wondering. And like you said, you start catching feelings for someone you haven't even met. Right. So you got to be really, really careful when it comes to the dating apps, especially if you're new to it. It can be very obsessive. You can become very obsessed very quickly, very addicted to it, right? Where now you're at the point where you're having a conversation, you're out with friends and you're there swiping. What are you swiping for? So have a plan, have a dating strategy. Like, I'm going to spend 15 minutes a day really going through profiles, and I'm only going to swipe on people that I find to be interesting. If that's on 1 app, 2 apps, 3 apps, doesn't matter. But don't just swipe on 3,000 people. Right? Because when they respond, now you're not going to remember what conversations you've had and this and that, and you're just all over the place. It's not really helping you. And it's not really healthy as well, because it increases your chances of getting ghosted, which chips away at your self-esteem. And you start wondering, is there something wrong with me? No. So I would say limit it to maybe 2 to start off with, and don't spend your entire day swiping, right? And don't just swipe aimlessly. Really be strategic about why you're there, what it is you're looking for, and only match with the right people. So 1 to 2 will be my recommendation.
Yeah, I agree. Don't overwhelm yourself. And in the same way, once you've got 5 or 6 people that you can end up having a phone call with and then meeting, then stop swiping. Focus on those people. If they lead to nothing, you can get new people in there. But it is not the purpose of these dating apps to collect matches just for an ego boost.
I know, right?
I know.
It's about yay. Okay, and so
but it's hard if you're getting hundreds of messages every single week, as many women do. Because if you do have someone you like, they're going to get lost very, very quickly. And you're not going to have time to really spot the good profiles because you're being overwhelmed with all these people throwing themselves at you. So slow things down. Don't keep swiping for the sake of it. Set your filters in the way that you want them to be set. So you're being quite restrictive. Not initially, but once you start using it properly, then you can be restrictive. I'm not saying pick someone who's 6'3" or any things like that. But if education is important to you, choose education. If they're a smoker or not, those sort of things are important. You're not here to settle. That's something I teach people all the time, particularly if you've been married before. The last thing you want to do is enter a new relationship that is just for the sake of it. And you mentioned about yourself. Some people like to just, I must be with someone. I feel that urge to do it. I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to be alone forever. No, you're not. As long as you've got that foundation inside you, that you have got the self-love and self-worth, you know what you're going to attract, enjoy the adventure. Now, let's talk very quickly about communication skills as well, because when you're building rapport with someone who you're getting to know, when it's online and we've been on a couple of dates, what advice do you have regarding that?
For a lot of women, the kind of women I work with anyway, I tell them to speak less and listen more. Because a lot of successful women, like you're talking, they're already thinking about what they're going to respond. And that's just your masculine energy, this need to show off and showcase how intelligent you are, how brilliant you are, how you have an opinion on every single thing, how you're so knowledgeable, you're well-traveled, you have all these degrees. And okay, not to say that those are not great stuff, but it's not great in the early days. So in the early days of meeting, communication is very, very key. You should learn as a woman to be more into your feminine, a bit more relaxed, lean back a little bit and allow the man to drive and lead the conversation. As you progress from the meeting to the datings, where you're going on multiple dates, to where you're deciding to be in a more exclusive relationship, then you can be a little bit more vocal, because now he's asking questions. He wants to know more about you. He's appreciating these other strengths, let's call them strengths, this masculine traits that you have. He's appreciating that. So it's not as confrontational, it's not as aggressive as it would be if on the first day you're like, well, I have a PhD in this and 3 masters from this and then this and the VP of sales. And also tell me what you think about this, where it's more interrogative. So lean back into your feminine, be a little bit more softer, listen more, and learn how to communicate. I think we all take this for granted, thinking, but I'm a human. I know how to communicate, but most of us don't. How you communicate in the office is different from how you communicate when you're trying to get into a relationship or when you're in a relationship. So I would say learn some communication skills, learn how to listen, right? How to be more empathetic in your communicating, how not to always feel the need to be brutally honest. Take out the brutal, you can be honest, but take out the brutality, and just be more open, right? Don't be so closed-minded. No, I don't agree. That's not my style. Well, I don't agree. I disagree. No, be more open to other people's perspectives, to their points of view, and appreciate their own journey. We all carry with us a lot of baggage from our upbringing, our past relationships, our childhood traumas. So also know that you're a work in progress and you're trying to unlearn some of those things as well. So be a bit more accommodating when you communicate with people.
I think be softer and be slower. That's what I would say
Yes.
to summarize it. That's it. Take
Yeah,
things slowly.
softer and slower.
That summarizes it in a little nutshell.
Yeah.
Now, you've written this book, haven't you, your ebook?
Yeah.
Can you tell everyone a bit more about that and how they can get hold of that?
Yes. So it's an ebook that you can download for free. You can go to datingwithjoan.com, and it's the story of Jasmine. And it just talks about how Jasmine, like most women who are successful, who've been through a divorce, just couldn't understand why she kept attracting feminine men. This is a woman who was successful in her career. She's a single mother. She's raising these amazing kids. She has life working out for her, but now she's exhausted. Like, why does she have to do everything on her own, right? She's beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's fit, she dresses well, she looks good, but still cannot attract a high-value masculine man into her life. And so she's going through the process of unlearning, of self-discovery, to really figure out, why am I attracting feminine men? Why can't I attract someone who's here to help me? Why do I keep attracting men that I need to fix, like projects? Right. And at the end of the day, it leads her feeling unfulfilled. She's feeling miserable. These men are not there to support her. The men don't even appreciate all the things that she's doing for them. And so she goes through this transformational journey of unlearning and learning how to get back into the dating game, how to heal. What are the skills that you need to go online? How do you move a date from just texting to going on a date to having multiple dates to now leading into a relationship? How to slow things down? How not to start thinking about the wedding day from the first meeting, right? And through her journey and all the steps that she takes, she's able to find her true love, her second chance love in John, and all of the skills that she needed, including communication and how to nurture and build a healthy relationship.
I love that. I'm going to download that myself. It sounds great. Maybe I can learn a thing or two. I've only been doing this 19 years. Does Jasmine happen to wear a lot of pink, by the way?
She does. It's just like me.
Is it based on you? Is it?
It's loosely based on me. So Jasmine is my middle name. So it's loosely based on my story, but it's a very similar story to a lot of the women that I work with. It's pretty much the same journey that women really struggle with, and being able to, like, so many people have downloaded the book and people have taken tips from it, and a lot of the clients I work with have read the book, and it's just like the honest reality of the life that Jasmine and most women live. And if there's a way out of that to really have the kind of supporting partner that we all desire, oh, then why not? Sign me up. And that's why I wrote it. So it's based on everything that I've experienced and everything that I've learned and all the people that I've worked with, on how a woman can just take that book, read, and see yourself. Like, you're like, yeah, that's me. That's me. That's what I hear. We're like, oh my God, that's me. That's not me. You wrote this book about me. I'm like, yeah, it's about all of us. Right. And the end of the story is that it is possible to find a second chance love. It is possible to transform your life where you're not this masculine woman who's doing all of this on your own, because it's tiring. It's exhausting. Right.
It is.
Yeah.
You're right. Everyone goes through that. I think it's going to resonate with a lot of women out there who are going through the same thing or being through the same thing and a bit lost and confused. Amazing. So then go onto your website and they can find that.
Yes.
How else can someone find you? Are you on social media at all?
I am. So you can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. I do have a private Facebook group for women for over 40 divorced, where we share a lot of stories. I do a lot of free teaching in there as well, and free coaching, just to help it's a safe space where you can come and just share. And you would find that, like you said, most of us have gone through exactly the same thing, or a lot of people are right there right now where they're like, oh God, I can't figure this thing out. Or even if it's just you've been online dating or you've been on multiple dates and it's not leading anywhere, there's something for everyone. So that's a private group that any woman who's over 40 and looking to date and find their second chance love can join.
Amazing. And you send me a link to that. I'll put that in the show notes as well.
I will.
It's probably quite long to read out now, but give that to me. I'll pop it in the show notes.
Okay.
Last question for you, because I ask everyone this question that comes on the podcast, particularly coaches. Do you have any, what's your PIN code for your bank? But it's not that. The question is this. That came into my mind. I don't know why. The question, imagine you said yes. The question is this. Do you have any sort of daily routines or rituals that you do on a regular basis?
Absolutely. So when I started on this journey of I need to find out what's wrong with me, it wasn't just in my relationship life as well. It was with work. It was with everything in my life. I just felt like the world was, I wasn't enjoying who I was. I didn't even know who I was. And it led me on a spiritual journey. I did not plan to go on a spiritual journey, but it did. So the more I learned or unlearned some of the things that were happening to me, I went on the spiritual path where I started to learn more about mindfulness, about meditation, about positive affirmations, about the growth mindset, and just different things that needed to change in my life. So as a daily routine for me, I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is try to meditate. I'm not saying I do it every day, but I try to. Even if it's for a few minutes, I try to ground myself and just meditate. And another thing that I do is, so I've lost, I don't know, maybe 60 pounds in the last year and a half or so.
Ow.
I started to, yes, I found that. And it was, again, it's this spiritual path. Like I had to start honoring my health and my body. Like, cause I was one of those women who was like, oh, even though I was overweight, I want a skinny man. Like skinny man don't want me. And so I had to start prioritizing my health. I had to start becoming who I wanted to be in the partner that I was looking for. So I started to take care of my health. I started to be more spiritual, be more mindful, really, really take on good habits, really prioritize myself, my self-care, focus on my mental health issues. I didn't even know I had any, but really a lot of self-care, really a lot of being kinder to myself, being more positive about life, and just enjoying the journey, right? Just learning to live in the moment. We're talking about forgetting about the past, and the future hasn't happened. The past is gone. All you have is present moment. So I try every day throughout my day to spend a few minutes at least to be present and just embrace and enjoy where I am right now. And then just know that tomorrow is always going to be better than today.
Very true. That's a great daily routine there. Combination of different things. It's amazing how many people tell me that they meditate and do all these things. And I love it. I think it's a very, very common theme on the podcast. The people that are coaches tend to do this. We are more spiritual and more open-minded to these sort of things. So that's a very magical thing. But Joan, we've come to the end of the podcast, and hopefully we can talk again on a video podcast that I'll be trying again very, very soon. I'd love to get you in. Everyone needs to see your amazing pink glasses and pink outfit and the rest of it. I feel they're missing out on that. Maybe I'm going to wear my pink lipstick and my pink glasses as well, just to do that. I haven't really got them. I'll get some just for you. But wonderful to see you again. And thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you for having me, and thanks for everyone for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to give you a free copy of my latest book, which you can download right now from my website, jamespreece.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the love by taking a few seconds to write a positive review on the iTunes store right now. See you next time.